Hello and welcome to PoE for Dummies Crafting. Crafting is one of the most extensive parts in Path of Exile, and this guide will teach you how to use the bare minimum to get an item somewhat like this. This guide is going to show you how to create step by step this form of an item which can be used to craft any armor that you're using. So headpiece, chest piece, gloves and boots with different elements for technically just boots and the rest. When it comes to everything else, this guide, in order to keep it shorter, that will not cover, like rings, amulet, weapons, quiver, shields and such, but this will give you at least a baseline so that you can create armors that are decent or great for your PoE journey. Without further ado, let me explain what items can have. Every single item, when you press Alt on your keyboard, I'm sorry, I don't know for console, you have up to 3 prefix modifiers and 3 suffix modifiers. What are those modifiers? Prefix modifiers are modifiers that give the item the name in pre-part, the prefix, and suffix give item the name in last part in the suffix, depending on the item. Don't buy PoE items based on the name. Multiple items that are different can have the same name. Remember this. When it comes to prefixes, usually on prefixes you can find your defenses and life, and on suffixes you can find your resistances and spell suppression, only if an item has dexterity requirement. How do you know what an item can give you on prefixes and suffixes? That's where this handy dandy website comes in. Keep in mind, all will be linked in the description below. This is PoEDB. PoEDB is the database for Path of Exile. Everything can be found here in regards to items, leagues, and such. When you go to poedb.tw, you go up to modifiers, you click modifiers, and you get greeted with this page. You find what you need. Let's say you are making a chest piece. A chest piece that is, you can see it here, right as every item is. You can see it here, requires that level and requires strength, dexterity as an example, or this item which requires only strength. So you find an item, this one requires dexterity only. Now, when you go to that item, you will see body armor's dexterity, prefix, suffix. In those, we are looking for life, evasion rating, hybrid with stun and block recovery, and such, and we are looking for resistances, fire, cold, lightning, chaos, and we are looking for chance to suppress spell damage. Every item in Path of Exile has its correspondent item level, which means it dropped in that area level, or it was obtained through other means, but in generally is dropped in that area. As an example, this item has item level of 85, as you can see. As you can see in the, when you press Alt, sometimes it doesn't work. When you press Alt, you can see this in item level here, item level 85. What the item level means is different tiering of items give different tiers of like life and modifiers. In Path of Exile, it works a little bit reverse. Tier 0 is the highest tier, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. The higher item level an item has, the higher tier it can get, up to a cap. You can't go over tier 0 and such. Now, in PoEDB, these gray numbers that are next to the red numbers as well will give you the maximum item level needed, or minimum item level needed, for maximum tier. So pay attention to those. If you want 175 to 189 life, you need item level of 86. That's what it is. In short, red numbers are the odds that you can get from the total. Defenses is tag for defenses, tag for life. That's for harvest crafting, not covered here. And item levels are in the gray ones. In the Green ones are the amount of them that can be obtained for tiers. Now, when it comes to suppress spell damage, this one is very important for people not to make a mistake. Suppress spell damage tier 1 requires item level 86 armor. That's the most important. If you have an item level 85 armor, as you can read at the bottom text line, you can only get tier 2. I rolled this to maximum. Tier 2, 17 to 90% chance to suppress spell damage. Now, when it comes to all of these, I will have a step-by-step here from buying towards crafting to the end, but let me go with the currencies needed. Currencies that you need to craft these items are generally Orb of Scouring, which removes all modifiers from an item. If an item, as an example, is a yellow item, it's a yellow item, you want to scour it to make it blue, to make it magic, not rare. Yellow is rare, blue is magic. You want to remove the scour. But it also has this yellow modifier. What is this yellow modifier? This is called a fractured modifier. Fractured modifier is a modifier that has set in stone properties, or basically set in stone, which means its modifier cannot be changed in any way, shape, or form. You can only craft around it. Because Path of Exile's items can have up to 6 modifiers maximum, this one guarantees you 1 modifier to be saved and to not worry about it. I recommend doing a fractured craft on a suffix. I will talk about that in a second, how to obtain an item, how to buy an item with this. Now, if the item comes as a rare and you don't want it to be a rare, you can use Orb of Scouring to remove all modifiers on an item, and it sets it up as a base. If an item is not a fractured item, then the item will not have any modifiers and it will look white. Regal Orb upgrades a magic item to a rare item by adding a suffix or a prefix randomly, 50-50 chance. So when you alt an item, you have only suffix, you click Regal, and you get another suffix. You can also get another prefix. It's whatever. So that's what gives it. Magic items can have maximum of 2 modifiers, 1 prefix, 1 suffix. Regal is usually used to add a third. Not important here. Chaos Orb reforges a rare item with new random modifiers. You can use a Chaos Orb to reforge an item to look a little bit different, to change it completely. Chaos Orbs here are going to be used in crafting bench. Exalted Orb augments a rare item with a new random modifier. It gives it a new random modifier. Here we have 2 prefixes, 2 suffixes. We click on Exalted Orb and it's going to add 1 at random. It added suffix. You can prevent this by crafting anything on the crafting bench in, let's say, suffix place, and then it will always hit a prefix, as it cannot hit more than 3/3. Next one, we have essences. Essences are very important, as essences are the ones that will guarantee an item property. We are going to talk about Essence of Envy, with notable mentions of the other 3, which are going to be Hatred, Anger, and Wrath. These are all resistance essences that you will need. Essence of Envy will give us chaos resistance to an armor. That's what we look for. That's the only thing. Armor, chaos resistance. If we want to craft an item, we just pop 1 essence and it will give us Chaos Resistance Tier 1, it gave us random armor and gave us cold resistance. What is the goal of this crafting? The goal of this crafting is to hit an item like this. Chaos Resistance, Cold Resistance, and some evasion rating. Or you can hit an item like this. Fire Resistance, Chaos Resistance, and chance to suppress spell damage. Keep in mind, once again, suppress is dexterity only. So depending on what your build needs, you want to craft something else. This guide is going to teach you how to get an item with 1 resistance, which is fractured resistance, with elemental resistance or chaos resistance, and with spell suppression. So we can continue with this, and as this is an armor base cannot get suppress spell damage. The other notable mentions are Deafening Essence of Loathing. This one is used to craft, you will see this in my build guides as well and on my website. This one is used to craft mana reservation efficiency of skills on helmet and body armor. Both can be used by that. Keep in mind, cannot be used on gloves, cannot be used on boots. So we have a helmet here with, this one doesn't have it. Usually I have builds that have helmets with Essence of Loathing, which gives it 9%, 9 to 10% mana reservation efficiency, which means your auras cost less mana. And the most important one of all is Deafening Essence of Torment. The reason for it is Deafening Essence of Torment gives our boots here when we go, pardon, where is it? Belt, chance to avoid being shocked, other jewelry, not other armor, sorry. Belt and other armor, chance to avoid being shocked. You can make boots like these, and these boots are referenced in the build, in the crafting guide that I have. I will link it in the description below. Ailment immunity boots, where you change chance to avoid being shocked to chance to avoid elemental ailments. Keep that in mind, mucho importante. Anyways, when it comes to crafting the items, there are also lesser Eldritch Ichor, lesser Eldritch Ember, as those are the ways how we can influence an item. And then we have Eldritch Chaos Orb, which can be used to change prefixes or suffixes on an item, depending on the dominance of the either Ichor or Ember. Now, when it comes to buying an item is a very simple process. I will give this link in the description below. You want to select your league. Current league is Settlers with the making of this video. You want to click online only, and then you want to buy basically the cheapest one. Now, I'm going to do with any just to show a point. When you go into filters, you want to do, on the left side, you want to choose item category, body armor, gloves, boots, or helmet. Sorry, you want to choose what base you want. Do you want armor, energy, shield, evasion? When you put 0 as max, that will disable the base. You can also put 1. That will disable the base that you don't want. So we want armor, evasion, and armor and evasion bases. You don't care about sockets, links, anything. You care about item level, the level requirement of armor. Why? Because the higher level of armor the higher level needed for armor to be equipped, the bigger the base properties of an item. This one, as you can see, these boots are boots which are dragon scale boots. They require level 67. They have 215 both armor and evasion. However, these boots are level 84 velour boots. These are boots that require level 84, but they have 800 evasion, 364 on the base, a top number, and these ones have 129 both on base. So you generally want the higher level required. This is, if you don't know the name of the base that you want to buy, or you can always consult PoE Wiki, and you can do like body armor. PoE body armor, go to body armor and scroll down and see which they give. You can scroll them by like defenses. This one is by armor, so royal plate is number 184, then 78 and such. You can use that too. Then we scroll down. If you are chasing the top of the crop, the maximum life, the maximum spell suppress, the highest tier possible, you care about item level. Item level 86 basically shows that that item can have everything, and it will only list the items that are item level 86 as its minimum and above. You want that. If you don't care about that, and if you just want your resistances and stuff, I think resistances are 84 maximum, 84, yes, 84 maximum. So then you don't mind. If you don't mind one lower tier, then it's 72, then you really don't care about the item level. So pay attention to that. That can be very detrimental when you craft. When I was learning, I did make a lot of mistakes on item level itself. I thought item level is the same as level. No. And the last but not least, fractured modifiers. Fractured modifiers, depending on what they are, can be more or less expensive. Fractured modifiers for resistances, elemental resistances, are generally cheap, but fractured modifiers for chaos resistance, chance to suppress spell damage, are more expensive. What I will always suggest is get dexterity, strength base, whatever you use with dexterity, get with resistance, and by the time you get to the cost of the item that has fractured spell suppression, you will have made the item already. You can make a better item even for cheaper. The point of this guide is to teach you how to use my build guides and my crafting guides and to learn yourself. Now, you here type in count, so you will get like a stat group. You can choose count, which means you want to have one as minimum, one as maximum, as you can only have one fractured modifier, and you want them to be 46. 46 means tier 1. If you want to lower it, you want to lower it to whichever one of these you want. You can do, pardon, this is resistance. You can do like 42 to 45. It can be a cheaper item. And then once you sort these out, you type in here tilde, resistance, chaos, fractured, and it will choose fractured resistance, and that's how you can add it. I won't fracture chaos resistance as there's no need to. Now when you click search, it will show you the items, how much they are. Let's go online only. There's an item, that's how much it costs. This is cold resistance, lightning. It's sorted by price. Now depending on the league, this can be more or less expensive, but you can mix and match. Now you know how to do it. Link for the trade in the description so you can play around. Let's go about crafting the item. Crafting the item step by step is done by you obtaining the fractured item and it being magic. That's this. Crafting project Syndicate's Garb. Syndicate's Garb is one of the I think it's here. Yeah. One of the highest bases is base item level, base 84, item level, whatever you choose. I've chosen item level 86 because we want spell suppression. If you just want resistances like I did here, easier to roll. Now, what you get, you put it in your inventory. You get all the currencies here. You can put it in the currency tab, or you can put it in the essence tab, wherever you want, wherever it's easier for you. You put it in. And then you first use a Regal Orb, as you can see on the right. Use a Regal Orb to make it rare. Once you make it rare, after the Regal Orb, you are using Essence of Envy. I use the Essence of Envy here. If Deafening Essence of Envy is too expensive, you can use Shrieking or Screaming for less Chaos Res. Or if you don't need Chaos Res, then you can use Deafening Essence of Hatred, Anger, Wrath. For Hatred gives cold resistance, Anger gives fire resistance, and Wrath gives lightning resistance. So you can use those. I clicked here Essence of Envy until I got tier 1 chance to suppress spell damage. In this attempt, it took me 14 Deafening Essences of Envy. Your mileage may vary. You can also do tier 2 if that's enough, but your mileage may vary. We do not care about prefixes. Once you're done here, you get 3 suffixes. Elemental Res, which is fractured. Elemental or Chaos Resistance, which is a guaranteed mod from the Essence, and the third mod, whichever you choose, either another Elemental Resistance or chance to suppress spell damage, whichever one you choose, depending on the base. Once you get all 3 suffixes, then we are going into Influenced Crafting. What does that mean? That means we use an Eldritch Ember to give it an influence. So you have a non-influenced item. This icon on the sides means it's fractured. Then you use one lesser Eldritch Ember. You don't use Eldritch Ichor. One lesser Ember, click, and you will get the Searing Exarch influence on like the mist on the item and on the icons here. Once you apply the blue one is going to stand on the right side. But you don't need the blue one right now. So we are applying that one. Once you do that one, then you will get yourself an opportunity to use a different currency. So an item should look something like this. You can pop Searing Exarch influence. You don't care what it is right now, but we'll do that later. And then the item is going to look like this. So, or you can see it like this. Once you have your Eldritch influence on, the red influence, keep in mind, if you make a mistake, just a notice, if you do a lesser Eldritch Ichor, and they are both here, as you can see in the top part of the item. There we go. In the top part, you can see lesser. You need to make Searing Exarch dominant. How do you make that? You take a greater Eldritch Ember and you put a greater one here, and you can get Searing Exarch greater and Eater of Worlds lesser. Why is this important? Because of this item. Eldritch Chaos Orb. If the Searing Exarch is dominant, reroll prefix modifiers. If the Eater of Worlds is dominant, reroll suffix modifiers. Because we have an item that has prefixes that has greater searing, we can reroll prefixes. You use the Eldritch Chaos Orb, you click, and you get, as an example, tier 2 armor and tier 4 armor and maximum life. Maybe you're happy with that, maybe you're not. But that's what we got here, and that's the step right now. So you want to use an Eldritch Chaos Orb to get the item to have better prefix modifiers. You're gunning for life if you want. If not, you're gunning for as many defenses as possible, as shown here. Here we can use an Eldritch Orb. I've used 4 here to get this tier 5 maximum life and tier 2 evasion rating. You can smack dab it however much you want. It's never going to change the suffix, as you can see here. It's always going to change the prefix because we have Searing Exarch influence and no Eater of Worlds influence, and or no same influence. Searing Exarch is dominant. It's always going to reroll prefixes. Once you're done rerolling your prefixes, then you want to go over to the crafting bench. Crafting bench, you want to put your item in and craft whatever you don't have. Here in this item, we don't have life. We can craft life. You can also craft on armor base, more armor. On evasion base, more evasion. You can also cross them. You can do more evasion rating and such. Energy shield and whatever else you would like. I strongly recommend doing just the basics. Just doing life. That's it. Boom. You are done. So you get tier 2 armor, tier 4 armor life hybrid, tier 5 life. We've got like 1.9k armor item, and that's basically it. To get the quality, you are going to use a currency called Armourer Scrap. That gives you 20% more armor evasion or whatever else you're using. And congratulations, you've crafted your own item in Path of Exile for helmet, for gloves, for body armor, and for boots. The only thing that is different between these crafts is if you're using elemental resistance and chaos resistance essences, if you're using mana reservation efficiency for helmet and body armor, if you're using essence of torment to make ailment immunity boots, link in the description, and that's it. Essences, you can read what they do. Every essence tells you exactly what they do, and they they guarantee the modifier that is on that essence. That's the most important part. Now, once you're done with it, you can brag to other people by doing Control Alt and click, and then that links it. Like, look what I've made. Like, look what I've made. I've made this, and then boom, it's in the chat. You don't have to if you want to, but that's basically it. Now, one small mention. In all of my build guides from 3.25 onwards, there will be a crafting part section. I am updating the website as we speak to have these guides in it, and I will use that to cross-reference so you guys will know. In my in my build guides, there will be crafting segments where you can see it. As an example, for this build that I have in the background, Burning Arrow, we are going to see in the notes section all of the crafts being done via text. This video is meant to show you that you can make items like these very, very easily, and they are cheap to make. Now, in regards to the Eldritch Embers and Ichors, you want to roll it until you get the modifier that you want. To go back on PoEDB, you can find that up here. The Searing Exarch implicit, the Eater of Worlds implicit. You can just re-roll the modifiers. +1 to all maximum resistances, got it by luck. So you can re-roll the modifiers with, like, until you get whatever you want. So let's say you want Purity of Lightning has increased aura effect. Those will change. You can also do a smaller one and a bigger one. So keep in mind which one you're rolling so it can be greater, lesser, and such. That's basically it for this beginner guide. I'm sorry it has been slightly longish, but this will show you how to properly craft the items, especially the ones that I have in the build guide. If you have any questions, feel free to post them down in the description below for this step-by-step guide. Of course, everything is time-stamped. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you had fun with me. This was really fun to explain and even show on stream how to do. But that's it for this video. If you like this type of content, please do give it a like, sub if you don't mind. Check out the website in the description below. It is heavyheals.com. Everything is sorted there. It will be sorted in the crafting section. Nothing to worry about per item basis. I will do that neatly over the course of the time. So thank you once again. You can check out the Discord as well if you'd like. Have a wonderful one, and I will see you in the next PoE video or stream. Have a good one.